Whew, okay, day 2. Hello, my black and white brothers. Welcome to my channel. I'm Alpha Anime, and this is What If Deku was the son of Tatsumaki and Mob. Okay then. Now, sorry that yesterday's videos were a little bit late. Ran into a few issues, but hopefully they're done by the time that this video comes out, because I'm recording this early. Sorry about that. My animation started. Okay, so now time to get into this what if. Okay, so where we left off, Deku had just finished handing Bakugo his butt in the quirk assessment test. And Bakugo is even more angry than usual, since even with One for All, he still lost to the useless Deku, per se. As I put it in his words. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say this in my last video. Now, the reason All Might is still the number 1 hero in this timeline is not because he's the strongest, and far from it. Just that All Might is the symbol of peace, because no one can shake your confidence in him for some reason. Don't know why, but well, that's what happened in the last one, in the real anime, because Endeavor took out way more heroes, but All Might was still number 1. Okay, back in here. So a few days pass, and then they start getting used to life in UA, and then one fateful day, something happened. Someone burst through the door saying, "I'm walking through the door like a normal person," and this person was All Might. Everyone was like, "All Might!" Even Bakugo, because Bakugo is more of a fanboy since he got One for All, so yeah. Whew, just finished a sneezing fit. Ugh, I hate those. So after All Might walked in, after All Might also said, "I'm walking through the door like a normal person," which is not remotely normal in the slightest. All Might says, "Time for hero training," but they also do say that costumes make the hero, so why don't you go put those on as some kind of dressers, I guess, pop out of the walls, which what is the budget for that? Because I'm pretty sure most of that budget should be going into the freaking security system. Well, budget for security systems aside, after all that, Deku walks down to the... When he got down there, he saw Uraraka. And when she saw him, she said, "Nice costume. I should have been more specific with mine. This thing is skin tight." Deku under his breath says, "Nice." And then Uraraka says, "Huh? What'd you say?" Deku says, "Oh no, I didn't say anything. I was just talking about how you look fine." And Mineta says, "I love this school," with that voice that Mineta has. Now, before I go into detail, I guess I should talk about Deku's costume. Deku doesn't have a helmet anymore. He still has that mouthpiece, but then he has that to filter air, like if he wants to go swimming and wants to breathe underwater. He also has nunchucks, because if you have read the latest part of the manga, you'll know that the webcomic of One Punch Man. If you read it, you would have seen that Tatsumaki can lose her powers if she overexerts herself. So Deku was trained in hand-to-hand combat and liked to use nunchucks the most. So yeah, he has that. He also asked for shoes that don't make as much noise. They called them sneakers. Oh, please someone get that reference. Please someone get that reference. And he also has a first aid kit in his arsenal as well, so yeah. That's all the changes I made, so yeah. The teams were You guessed it, Deku and Todoroki. No, not Deku and Todoroki. Deku and Uraraka versus Todoroki and Bakugo. I'm sorry that I keep putting Todoroki in these ones, but it's because Ida would not be able to do crap to Deku. He's fast. Ha, Deku's much faster. Seriously. Have you seen Tatsumaki or Mob Psycho 100? These guys go past the speed of sound on the daily, easily. But aside from that, Todoroki and Bakugo enter the building. And now that Bakugo has the self-esteem of a freaking bodybuilder on freaking steroids, it's safe to say that that Bakugo would not even try to listen to Todoroki, which Todoroki didn't really care because he didn't really need to make a plan with Bakugo. All Todoroki said is, "What is Deku's quirk?" Bakugo explained it, and so that's all you really need to know. When All Might blew the buzzer saying, "The heroes can enter now," Deku said, "Hey Uraraka, just follow me." Deku proceeded to start flying and lifted Uraraka with his telekinesis. He started flying up to the building and he said, "Okay, let me just try something." Uraraka nods, and then Deku starts taking apart the building and finds the bomb and picks it up with his telekinesis. He's about to touch it when Bakugo comes out of nowhere and sends a gigantic blast at both Uraraka and Deku. And by the way, I forgot to say this, or maybe I did say it, Bakugo's normal blasts now are as strong as his gauntlets. So yeah, One for All is freaking OP. Have you seen Heroes Rising? Those things are powerful. When Bakugo does this, Deku makes a force field in front of himself, but wait, no. He uses his force field, but then realizes that Uraraka doesn't have one. So Deku, as quickly as he can, creates a force field right next to himself, which it helps to block the blast from Uraraka, but then the blast had already started hitting Uraraka, so it just cut the blast in half, basically. That sends Uraraka flying, and Deku sees this and proceeds to go past the sound barrier and catches her. He starts asking her if she's okay, then he realizes that she's unconscious. Deku floats to the ground, puts her down, and then Bakugo looks at him from the air since he's blowing himself up there. Oh no, wrong choice of words. But he looks down, and then Deku turns his head to the side, and all Bakugo can see is Deku's red eyes. If you've watched Mob Psycho 100, you'll know stuff is going down right now. Bakugo flinches, and that's enough time for Deku to speed right behind him and grab Bakugo by the back of his head and start speeding down and buries him in the ground. Bakugo isn't knocked out, but then Deku starts throwing him through buildings. And he starts to lift a few buildings to hit Bakugo with them. But then All Might says, "No, young Midoriya, you'll kill him." Deku calms down, and then Bakugo does a sneak attack using his gauntlets to blast Deku. So now his gauntlets are like 4 times as powerful as they were in the original anime, so that thing sends Deku flying. It doesn't destroy the barrier, but then it definitely gives him his fair share of pain when he hits a freaking wall. Deku then starts thinking again and realizes that they're really far away from the bomb. Deku also realizes that the only person guarding it is Todoroki. So Izuku starts flying at the normal building full speed. Bakugo can't hope to reach this amount of speed. By the time Deku gets there, Todoroki was freezing the bomb, so it would be harder to get to. Deku just lifted it up from the air, basically force pushed Todoroki, hitting him into the wall and then slamming him into the ground, throwing him through multiple grounds or roofs or walls, I guess? I don't know how to explain. Then he lifts the bomb, and by the time he gets it to himself, Bakugo would come out of nowhere and shot a blast at Deku. But this is what Deku was hoping for. So Bakugo shot the blast. Deku blocked it with the bomb, and then it destroyed the bomb. So Deku and Uraraka win due to Bakugo basically destroying the bomb that they were meant to protect, like a freaking dummy. After it's over and they've taken the wounded to the to Recovery Girl, Deku and Bakugo walk into the security room. Is that what it's called? I can't remember. But then as soon as they walk in, everyone flinches because they're like, these kids have so much damn power. It's amazing and scary. Deku looks at them and is like, yo, what happened? And then everyone says, we should be asking you that. What's with the red eyes? Deku says, oh, so that's what this is about. They are like, yeah, it definitely is, because you can freaking lift buildings easily, as it looked. You freaking took apart the entire building to find the bomb. Deku, after that, explains that his telekinesis is also controlled by his emotions. So when he was taken over by anger, he felt his power was boosted. So he explains that my normal 100% is nowhere close to the power of my angered 100% or my emotional 100%. But with my normal 100%, I can still easily lift buildings. They all just they just fall. They all of if you watch Dragon Ball Z, you know that thing where they just turn upside down. That's basically what happened, and they're like, this guy can lift the buildings. Damn. I can't even lift myself out of bed in the morning. Got him. Bakugo is as well very surprised by this and also very annoyed because now he thinks that even with all the power that All Might gave him, that he's still too weak to destroy Deku in a fight. But then after that, Deku says, but when I go into that form, it's hard for me to control it. So I try to keep my emotions hidden as possible. Kinda like my father did for a while. Or for most of his life. So everyone after that, I don't know what to say. After that, all that happens, and then it's announced that they will be going to the USJ in a few weeks. On their way to the USJ, the topic of quirks came up. So Suyu announced very confidently that Midoriya, you have the strongest quirk, no questions asked. Todoroki and Bakugo try to rebuttal at this, but everyone just looks at Todoroki and he shuts up immediately. The only person that they try to scale is Bakugo, cause Bakugo has a little thing called One for All. One for All is freaking broken. Did you see what it comes with as well? Like Black Whip, all that stuff. He can fly as well. Like it's kind of OP, not gonna lie. So yeah, Bakugo confidently announces, I obviously have the strongest quirk in the school. Deku says, sure story, Bakugo. Bakugo says, you wanna go? Deku says, well, I want you to go home, so... Yeah, that's right, I'm making Deku a savage in this one. Bakugo gets up and tries to explode Deku. Deku just made an explosion, made a force field around Bakugo's hand, making him hurt himself. Then Deku says, "Sit down." Bakugo tries to protest, but Deku uses another hand and sits him down. Bakugo, after that, tries to start screaming bloody murder, but Deku shuts him up, saying, "I said, be quiet." After that, Bakugo was powerless. He couldn't move, he couldn't speak, couldn't use his quirk without hurting himself. So he just gave up, like a smart person. Everyone started clapping for Deku, apart from people who wouldn't clap for him, I don't know. But Sue did say thank you for shutting that dumb up. Because at the beginning of the anime, no one really liked Bakugo, sadly, apart from maybe Kirishima. Okay, so they finally get to the USJ and they open the door. 13, the rescue, or no, not the rescue, the space hero comes up and greets them. But then when she announces her name, or what? No, more like when Uraka announces her name, Deku asks, "Hey Uraka, has she gone to space yet?" Uraka says no. Deku sweat drops and says, "But isn't she the space hero?" Uraka says, "Yeah, so what?" Deku says, "You know what, never mind." So yes, that is what happens. Yes, and while 13 is talking about how quirks can be used to kill and how you should learn how to control them so you're safe to people around you, they start to see some kind of purple mist start to grow in the middle of the USJ. And through that purple portal, some kind of people start walking through it. They're coming in like they own the freaking place. Hiroshima yells out, "Oh, you guys have fake villains as well? Awesome!" Mr. Aizawa says, "Get back. Those are real villains." When they hear that, a few people, Mineta in particular, start to lose their frickin' minds. Mineta starts to panic and says, "What are we gonna do?" Mr. Aizawa says, "You are not going to do anything. You are going to sit back and wait here." Deku says, "But your quirk is more suited for one-on-one battles. But now there are like 100. How are you going to do this?" Mr. Aizawa says, "You can't be a hero if you're only a one-trick pony, Midoriya." He then jumps into battle, instantly erasing multiple quirks at the same time. He starts grabbing them villains with his scarves and yanking them around. He hits a few against each other, instantly knocking them out. One villain in particular is annoyed by this. The person has cyan hair. While Mr. Aizawa is doing this, he realizes that the purple mist has started moving. The purple mist had materialized itself right next to the students, as the students were trying to get away. The mist says, "Oh, we're sorry for crashing the party. I know we weren't supposed to be here, but this is a party you're not allowed to leave from. We're here to kill All Might and the son of the number 2 and 3 hero, because we know they're here." Everyone instantly looks at Deku instinctively, and then he then starts to change. His aura color starts to change. He starts to use his powers, and he lifts the mist into the air, trying to get everyone out. But the mist keeps materializing, I guess? I don't know how to explain it. All I'm saying is that the mist is getting freaking bigger. While Deku is doing this, he leaves just enough time for Ida to get out. But as soon as this happens, the mist then moves towards the children, and Bakugo and Kirishima go at it at the same time. They fail, and then they proceed to be teleported across the entire USJ. Back at the heroes, Back at the heroes, Ida had gone there, and he saw Mob and Tatsumaki at UA. While they're there, he tries to call them to say that, the class is being attacked by villains, and your son is being targeted. When Tatsumaki hears this, she says, well, it doesn't really matter. Deku's gonna beat the absolute crap out of him, and if he doesn't, I'm gonna beat the crap out of him, so it's kind of a win-win situation. Go find some other heroes, kid. That's what Mob says to him. When he hears this, he says, but then there are other kids there. Tatsumaki and Mob sigh and says, fine, let's go. Tatsumaki picks up Ida with her telekinesis and starts zooming towards the USJ, but is intentionally going slow just to see if Deku can beat the villains before she gets there. Back at the USJ, Deku was transported into the lake, whatever it's called. A villain comes to attack him. Deku stays still, and then the villain tries to bite him, but then their teeth are completely destroyed by the force field that Deku has, so get wrecked. Suck it. Deku says, how annoying. I keep calling her Froppy. Sue comes out of the water and picks him up and takes him into the boat. Deku says, oh, thanks, but I didn't really need your help right there. Sue says, well, I just wanted to. Why not? Deku says, okay, so how are we gonna get across? No. Sue says that, and then Mineta says, what do you mean how are we gonna get across? It's impossible. The villains are swarming the water. Deku says, oh, they're only in the water? Oh, no problem. He then jumps into the water and proceeds to drown every single one of them. I'm kidding. All he does is pack all the water into a ball with his force field and sends them away, and just sends all the water villains away. He then says, alright, let's go. Sue says, well, wasn't that a bit extra? I'm pretty sure you could have just carried all three of us across to the end of the water. Deku says, well, it wouldn't have been as much fun, and plus the villains could have just followed us there. Sue says, well, fair enough. When they get to shore, they see a sight that is hard to be unseen. They see the Nomu force-feeding Aizawa the worms on the ground by continuously smashing his head on the pavement. Deku says, ugh, that's gotta hurt. Then lifts the Nomu and tosses it aside. What he doesn't notice is the cyan, I'm just gonna call it the blue-haired blue-haired villain starts running towards him, saying, don't touch the Nomu, or something. He then runs at Deku and Sue, putting both of his hands out. And that's where I'm gonna leave it off, guys. Sorry if this video is a little bit short. I'm running short on time, and I also need to record part 2 of this, or part 4 technically. So yeah, stay safe, stay cool, and wear a mask.